All right, good evening, everyone. This is the Cortez City Council regular meeting. It's Tuesday, November 12th, 2024 at 7:30, and I'd like to call this meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Can we have the roll call, please?
Buffer.
Here.
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 Free.
Here.
Randall.
Here.
Lewis.
Here.
Medina.
Next on our agenda is we get an approval of the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Motion made by Dobry and seconded by Lewis.
Lewis.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Buffer.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Rule.
Yes.
Haven.
Aye. Number 2 on our agenda is the consent agenda. The listing under consent agenda is a group of items to be acted on with a single motion and vote. This agenda is designed to expedite the handling of limited routine matters by City Council. Either the public or a council member may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda at that time prior to the council's vote. The mayor will ask if a citizen or council member wishes to have any specific item removed from the consent agenda for discussion. On the agenda today, we have A, approval of the work session and agenda minutes from October 22nd, 2024. B, approval of the expenditure list from November 12th, 2024. C, approval of a renewal application for a brew pub liquor license for Four Corners Brewing LLC, DBA Main Street Brewery and Restaurant, located at 21 East Main Street, Cortez. D, approval of a renewal application for a hotel and restaurant liquor license for New Hong Kong of Cortez Inc., DBA New Hong Kong Chinese Restaurant, located at 332 West Main Street, Cortez. And E, approval of a special event permit for the Cortez Area Chamber of Commerce to host a business after-hours event on Thursday, November 14th, 2024, on the premises of the First Southwest Bank, located at 1510 East Main Street, Cortez. Would any member of council or the public like to see any item removed from the consent agenda?
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I move council approve the agenda for November 12th, 2024.
Second.
Motion made by Lewis and seconded by Dobry.
Rule.
Yes.
Randall. Lewis.
Aye.
Buffer.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Aye. Next on our agenda is public participation. There is no limit to the number of speakers, although public comments will be held to an overall time limit of 30 minutes. Speakers have a time limit of 3 minutes per person, may only speak once, and may not cede time to another commenter. And then when you come up to the stand, you don't need to turn on the microphone, and there'll be a light that turns green. And then when you have 1 minute left, yellow, and then red, and we'll just turn off. So I'd like to invite the first speaker, Cliff Griffin. And you can just start with your name and the area that you live in.
My name is Cliff Giffen, and I live at 913 Ridge Drive in Cortez. I have observed and participated in the city of Cortez process for a conditional use permit submitted by Independent Log Company. I have the following comments. In these comments, I make no statements for or against the application. At the October 1st Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, the commissioners did not go on record stating whether or not the use was compatible with the adjacent single-family residential zone, thereby avoiding that issue completely. Since when is it inappropriate for citizens to talk to their elected city councilors regarding any issue being considered by the council. At the Planning and Zoning meeting, the applicant was required to prepare and submit a revised application to include changes discussed during the meeting. On October 31st, I requested in person a copy of this revised application. I was told the application was not available to the public at that time. Why not? Last Friday, the agenda for this meeting was published. The independent log CUP application was removed from the agenda. No information as to why and no information as to when the council would consider it. Has the applicant submitted a revised application? If yes, can I see it? If not, why not? When can the public expect to have the revised application for review? The public needs time to review the application, prepare and submit letters of comment to the council, and allow the council members to read and review the application and comment letters. Thursday or Friday before the council meeting is inadequate. Does the city have any standards or requirements for applications? Much of the application describes adjacent uses and contains lengthy and subjective justification for their project. Most of this information belongs in a cover letter. Only information of proposed operations belongs in the application. The application available to the public prior to the Planning and Zoning meeting, including all diagrams and figures, was a scanned image document. This is currently the only application document available to the public. This document is not searchable. Many of the diagrams and figures are not legible. All application documents should be searchable, and all text, diagrams, and figures must be legible.
Thank you very much. Up next, we'd like to invite Susan Kibnitz.
Susan Kemnitz, 511 South Cedar in Cortez. And I just wanted to comment on the process of the bidding for the repair of the police roof. And I realize that I guess you may have already decided pretty much on that, but I thought I should comment on this anyway because it brought up something that maybe doesn't come up very often in the bid process. We have one person that's bidding that has done work for the city on, evidently, I don't know how often, but it seems like their bid was being judged by that work alone. And if it was true that the comments that they received about that work that were negative were not their fault, that's not right to use that. But it sounds like the other person that was being considered for this, their bid was being judged on something that they put in their cover letter, or you know, those jobs that they decided themselves. And I'm thinking, well, if you can just put your best jobs on there and that's what you're considered on, then that's not really a fair process. So I'm hoping that there's a little bit more, you know, when you look at these, even if it's not for this one, that there's a little bit more intense scrutiny. Like, you should be looking at all the jobs the person did. Or to make it fair, and I don't know how you would do that when you already have comments that came that were negative about this other construction company. I'm like, that's, you know, I would hope you'd be more. I don't think it was an intentional thing. I think someone just didn't think about it. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Seeing no more public comment, I'll move on to item 4, which is presentations. We have none. Item 5 is public hearings, and we'll start with 5A, which is ordinance number 1329, Series 2024, the 2025 budget, presented by Kelly Koski, our Director of Finance.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. In your packets this evening, you have ordinance number 1329, Series 2024, for second reading and approval of the 2025 budget. The annual budget and approved appropriations are an important and required part of the fiscal cycle. The budget not only sets priorities of where our money should be spent, but is also used as a guiding document for all departments throughout the year. Through ClearGov, the 2025 proposed budget has been reviewed by all directors and relevant supervisors. After the budgets were submitted to the finance director, the city manager and finance director met with each director individually. The proposed budget was reviewed by the city council and the mayor, and through the ClearGov Transparency Center, there was a button on the city website titled 2025 Proposed Budget, where the community was able to also comment on the proposed budget throughout the budget process. We did not have any public comment, but we did have 2 people that stopped by to take a look at the more spreadsheet-like version and detail. In the 2025 budget, we were able to include recommendations of a wage study that was completed in June by Graves Consultants. Inclusion of the wage study recommendations were accomplished without relying on any additional funds from the City of Cortez investments. There was one change in the process, as noted earlier. We did include an additional $95,000 for the police department vehicle leases for 2025. In the past, we'd had a very slow supply chain, taking over a year for us to receive vehicles from the time that they were ordered. We were notified by John Elway Chevrolet, who is a state vendor, that those supply chain issues are working themselves out and that we should have vehicles on the ground next year at the end of the first quarter, mid-range of the second quarter, which was shocking and surprising. We've never had vehicles that we've ordered of any type that were available that early. So we were pleased to be able to do that also. Staff recommends that the council approve on second reading ordinance number 1329, Series 2024, the appropriations and budget for the 2025 calendar year. I'd also like to take this time to thank the council for all of their hard work, guidance, and consideration in our 2025 budget. It is a lot of information to process, and we would not be successful with any of our budgets without all of your hard work, your considerations, and all of the decisions that were made throughout the process. So thank you very sincerely for your time.
Thanks, Kelly. I know that's a lot of work for your staff as well. And I'd like to open this to the public if there's any public comment on the budget. Seeing none, do we have any council comment or discussion?
I do think it's pretty phenomenal that we're able to implement the wage study data that was provided to us. I think it's a good thing for our community. I am very pleased with the way that it has come about. And I believe that many council members are in agreement, although I can't speak for everyone. So thank you for the hard work in working through that, and I hope that it is as fruitful and well-meaning to the employees as it is to the work that we have done and that the manager has done. Thanks.
I move that council approve on second reading ordinance number 1329, Series 2024, an ordinance summarizing expenditures and revenues for each fund and adopting a budget for the city of Cortez, Colorado for the calendar year beginning on the first day of January 2025 and ending on the last day of December 2025.
Second.
Motion made by Lewis,
Randall. Dobry.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Rule.
Yes.
Stoffer.
Aye.
Haven.
aye. Moving on, item B on our agenda is Independent Log Company. This has been removed from this agenda, so we'll move on to number 6, which is unfinished business. Item A is the Police Department roof repair, which is presented by Brian Peckins, our Director of Public Works.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, give us a minute. We'll get some briefing slides up. Okay, we're ready to start. Just to recap, at the last City Council meeting, it was requested that we continue the discussion on the Police Department roof repair to this meeting. As previously mentioned, a best value procurement approach was employed because, number one, the city did not have detailed specs for the roof repair, and the city staff are not experts in the roof repair and replacement. Therefore, the city invited firms to submit proposals that were evaluated on other factors besides cost. Just to answer a few questions from the last meeting. There were some questions about whether the different contractors had performed work in the city. Only one contractor had performed work for the city, but the other top 3 contractors had performed work in the city. Diversified Roofing undertook the installation of the roof for the Axis Health Building. Farhar completed the roofing for the school district admin building, and Topline installed the library roof. Another question was, do all firms provide a 20-year warranty? And they all do. And then the question was, well, then why did some firms score differently? Well, the warranty category was defined as comprising a 20-year manufacturer's warranty and a 2-year workmanship warranty, along with a review of each bidder's submittal for completeness and compliance with the RFP. Quality and completeness of submittals was a significant contributor to the scoring in this area. Another question was, Diversified offer $14,000 more in performance, since that's how much more they cost than the low bidder Topline. However, we feel obligated to let the council know that the low bidder Topline, on its most recent job for the city at the library roof installation, there have been 5 leaks in the new library roof installed by Topline over the past 2 years. Staff also notes that the risk associated with potential disruption of essential police activities or damage to police equipment is substantial, and a repeat of the city's experience with the library roof would be a significant problem. And then there were some comments on the lack of plans included in the RFP. A replacement plan for the police department roof had not been established prior to its sudden and severe failure, which created significant risks to both operations and equipment. Consequently, there was inadequate time to engage in the standard design bid build procurement process. Contractors were invited to conduct a site inspection, and as-built blueprints of the police department were provided for their reference. The focus was on identifying solutions that could be implemented by Thanksgiving while ensuring a projected service life of 20 years. These are just some of the factors that we looked at. On the top line, past performance and experience. These are all roofs that were done recently within the city. Again, we mentioned Diversified did the Access Health System Medical Center, Farha did the School Administration Building, and Topline did the Cortez Library. The next factor was basically this is budget. This was the cost. Diversified Roofing would provide the roof repair at $129,488.86. Farhar Roofing at $174,844.69, and Topline Installers was the low bid at $115,337. All three candidates have acknowledged and confirmed their proposed pricing and timelines. Warranties and submittals. All shortlisted candidates provided a 20-year manufacturer's warranty on the roofing membrane, as well as 2-year workmanship warranty as required by the manufacturer. If you look at the next slide, this is a checklist of the requested information that we had in our request for proposal. And you can, wherever there's a green check, that information was provided. A red X indicates that that information was not provided by the bidder. Next slide. These were just, we went back and contacted all three bidders, all three top bidders, and they provided references. All of the references were good. Nobody came back with a bad reference. And in summary, Topline has the lowest cost for the proposed roof repairs by $14,151.86. However, we are concerned that on their most recent city roof repair at the library, there have been 5 leaks within the last 2 years. Although Topline promptly responded to the leaks, we are concerned by the seemingly preventable leaks that cause a significant city staff time, disruption of library service, and damage to library facilities. The level of workmanship for a new roofing installation causes the city concern, especially considering that the police department contains a significant amount of sensitive and costly equipment that may sustain damage and halt 911 operations if a leak occurs. Due to the nature of the work performed at the police department, lives are at stake. Although we don't like having to pay $14,000 more to complete the project, we are concerned with the repeat of the problems experienced at the library. And our recommendation, even though Diversified's proposed cost is higher than Topline's, staff again is concerned with the 5 leaks at the new library roof over the past 2 years. Also, Diversified's proposal was the most complete and comprehensive proposal. For this reason, staff believes that the city will receive a higher quality outcome if Diversified is a selected contractor for the re-roofing of the police department. Staff recommends that City Council select Diversified Roofing for the repair of the roof on the police department building. Any questions before?
I've got a question in your summary, Brian. The third bullet point, you mentioned about Topline and you have caused significant city staff time, disruption of library services, and damage to the library facilities. Can you give me specifics on any of that, like what damage it did within the library, and more importantly for me is a dollar amount, what that would?
Yeah, we don't have a good record of the dollar cost, but there was damage to the bathrooms for some of the leaks, and then also to some of the library books and materials. Again, there were 5 leaks. We had Topline was addressed about the first 2 leaks. One of them they fixed, the other one they denied, and the 3 additional leaks, our building maintenance staff just figured it was easier to make the repairs themselves, and they did that. But it was mainly books, some furniture, some damage in the bathrooms. The library did have to go out and get, I don't know whether they bought or rented dehumidifiers, and there was some cost for that. And then our city staff time, our building maintenance staff spent a considerable amount of time at the five separate leaks.
So no idea what the amount was, or if insurance, it was large enough for insurance to cover.
I don't believe we had any insurance covering any of the costs.
Mayor, Pro Tem and Council, I can speak to that. There was not an insurance claim made on any of this. And we have some figures that was our assumptions, but we don't have any backup for that. And therefore, I feel like it would be irresponsible for us to give you numbers when we don't have backup.
And I would add that you won't get insurance coverage for a warranted item. That's why they called for the contractor to do the repairs, at least on the initial leaks.
I have a couple of questions or comments, and I just seeking your input on this. So on your page that states past performance and experience, and you have the 3 columns that mention diversified versus top line. Under the top line, you have listed that the past experience has been with the Cortez Library, and that's the only one that you list there.
We just listed one that they did in the city
Right.
for each of those.
So can you tell me how many jobs this company has done for the city in the last 10 years? Give me a ballpark.
I think they've done most of the roofs except for the rec center. I think they did the police department initially. I think they did this building. I think they did the welcome center. So I've done at least 4.
So there's been a significant, what I'm hearing is the majority of the work that's been done on city buildings, with the exception of one roof, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to get the facts here, with the exception of one roof, has been done by this company, and the one roof that wasn't done by this company has performed repairs on the previous company's work, and that was the rec center. Is that correct?
I'm not sure about the rec center, if that was done by Top Line.
I think that's the way it was represented in one, when the,
The only, Mayor and Pro Tem and Council, the only repair that I'm aware of that Top Line did to the rec center, and this is all that I'm aware of. If there's something else, I'm not. But I believe it was winter before last, we had a severe storm that blew a piece of other roofing off, and that the wind as it blew, that piece of sheet metal sheeting was going over and somehow chopping holes in the membrane. So they did respond, and to their credit, it was over the holiday period, and they did repair that.
okay, thank you for that. So what I'm hearing is that even though it was not their product, they responded when we reached out. Okay. The next item I have a concern about in this presentation is that under the references contacted, we've got under top line, we don't list ourselves as a reference for them. So even though they've done a considerable amount of work for us, I have concerns about this, and they're multiple, and I'd like, even though I know this is a very time-sensitive issue for the city, we need to get the roof on, but anyone who works and does a job makes mistakes, and I'm not saying they made mistakes, but these people have been consistent with us for a number of years in their dedication to the city and their response. There seems to be quite a bit of conflict here, particularly on the last job they did, the library job. And depending on who we listen to, there's some pointing of fingers going back on who was responsible for what and the like. So I'm hearing 1 job out of 10 with this company that we've had problems with. I think there are other concerns that were noted in the letters that the council received regarding the ability of, or the experience required to bid on a contract such as this, years experience, and that was addressed in one of the letters, which I'm sure you saw. So, and that was regarding the company that has received the recommendation from your department to receive the award. Could you address that?
Yeah, we looked into that, and Diversified General Contracting, of which Diversified Roofing is a subsidiary corporation, has over 10 years' experience installing commercial roofs. So their present company has only been incorporated for 3 years, but the owners and the of Diversified Contracting have 10 years commercial roof experience. So we felt that was satisfactory.
Another point along these lines has to do with the comparison that was done by city employees regarding the bids. And one of the issues that I had there was, and I think it was voiced by other council members last meeting, had to do with our preference for local people and local businesses. And that I have concerns with how that's not happening here.
Yeah, the two of the companies were out of Durango. Top Line is out of Cortez. They've all done work in the city.
Another thing has to do with when we hire an employee, right? We have a complete job description, and in this case, when we're hiring a contract, we've got the specs all lined out for them. In the process of having an employee, we go through regular evaluations with that employee and tell them where they're meeting standards and where they're not meeting standards. Does this happen during a job?
It should.
Okay. Do we have documentation of that happening in the past?
We don't have good documentation.
So we're sort of coming down to a point where we have, what I'm understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that the city does not have documentation of the concerns we've had with the one job out of the 10 or however many this company has done. We don't have documentation lined out as far as exact days, issues, concerns, and
yeah.
so I think that's a concern for me. And as we move forward, I think we don't expect perfection from ourselves, and we don't expect it from you. But we do move forward when things come up that we recognize are not optimal. And I think this may be one of those situations where we don't have an optimal process in place, not personnel, but process in place to address this issue. And I think that's kind of what has put us in this position where we're reluctant to jump on a proposal that is X amount of thousands of dollars greater and not from a local person and has other issues involved with it.
Well, and if I can kind of address that, I mean, this project falls under general services, but Public Works, we have the same issue, and that's, we could certainly use a better work order system where, the guys could have, laptops and take pictures and document how many hours and materials. We'd like to get to that point, but we don't have that type of documentation now. But we've talked to our staff, and we're going to do a better job, whoever gets this job of, documenting and making sure they're, part of the problem at the library roof is they left construction debris and old T-shirts and things on the roof that they ended up clogging the drains. That should never have happened, but it did. And so we've talked to our guys, and we'll do a better job this time.
Yeah, I agree with Councilmember Randall's point of documentation, and I know a lot of this isn't necessarily in your wheelhouse. It was previous library director and Public Works, but just to reiterate to everyone that taking a few notes here and there can go a long ways. But since we are getting so much sort of he said, she said sort of information, I would just really like to hear from the staff perspective about the 5 leaks and why they occurred, and then just a little bit of clarification. So one was fixed and one they came but wouldn't fix. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I've got some notes here from our building maintenance staff on the library leaks. I can read that to you. The first major roof leak that occurred at the library was above the public men's room on the west side of the building. It was due to the drainage pipe system being pulled apart in connection with the installation of a new roofing system. The same drain line had been in place without leaks for the past 20 years or so without any incident of leakage. This leak occurred on a Monday afternoon close to closing time for the library. Topline Roofing was contacted early Tuesday morning by building maintenance staff. The owner of Topline Roofing denied having anything to do with the problem. So in any event, Topline had a technician who was already on the roof because the roof was still under construction look at the drain issue. He reiterated that the leak was not Topline's problem, but was caused due to lack of maintenance from city staff. So there is some disagreement on who is at fault for some of these leaks. At this point, the city maintenance staff went to work on the problem. They discovered that there was still standing water in the drainage system, indicating a blockage of some sort. Upon unclogging the drain system, it was discovered that a scrap rag, a t-shirt, pieces of roofing scraps, and a fair amount of miscellaneous roofing hardware was causing the blockage which caused the leak. Another leak which occurred on the southwest corner of the library was in fact due to a faulty drain pan assembly. This was acknowledged and taken care of by Topline Roofing. The additional leak that took place at the southeast corner of the library resulted from inadequate sealing of the roofing to the newly installed drain pan assembly, compounded by the drainage system being obstructed with roofing debris. City maintenance personnel identified that the drainage system was not functioning correctly. The miscellaneous roofing debris was discovered by an outside plumbing company hired by the city. The plumbers flooded the southeast area of the roof with water. Upon discovering that the roof drain system for the area was not working, the plumbers ran a power snake through the drainage piping system and discovered more roofing remnants and miscellaneous roofing hardware. This blockage and leakage of the roof drain also resulted in an added cost of calling in a care company who set up commercial dehumidifiers to take care of water that made its way to the interior of the building. The remaining 2 leaks occurred where the new roofing meets up with the clear story section of the building. These were taken care of by city maintenance staff with the application of roofing sealant without reaching out to Topline due to past performance issues. So that's kind of a summary of the leaks at the library.
And I just wanted to add one more thing about the process. I know I work in a very different field than roofing contracts, so it could be very different. But usually when I review contractors, they give me like a CV, like a resume with extensive information about previous projects that are similar and comparable. So even if they're a new contractor to me, I can tell based on that type of project that they're able to do the new project. And one thing that I've struggled with this is like that lack of comparability. I appreciate getting the one more example of a project everyone did in town, but it's like, well, is the access roof similar to the police department roof? Because if it's not, then it's not really a good comparable. And I just always appreciate getting more information along those lines, so then I could really judge if especially a new contractor has a similar experience, regardless if it's necessarily within the bounds of the project area or not. Do we have any more comments?
I think our bottom line here is we want to shop local, and so we want to use local contractors if they can do the job. If we're going to save more money by going outside, then we need to look at outside. If we're spending $14,151.86 more on a project to an outside company, we have to justify it. And that's why we asked for more information. And I can understand where you're coming from. I hear you. If it was me, I can make my decision because it's my money. We're not spending my money, we're spending the city's money. So we have to be very cognizant of what we do. And I happen to know that Top Line has done many projects in Cortez, and they've been good. Evidently, he failed on the library, and I wish he had been brought to task for that, or we'd have had more information about that. The information you've given us this week is a lot better than we had 2 weeks ago. I'm still in a quandary on what to do. Is that extra $14,151 worth it? And that's where I'm at. Is it worth it? If it is, I don't mind paying for a higher bidder if it's worth it. So that's where I'm at. I have to be convinced it's worth it.
And that's certainly a subjective question. And the reason we came to the conclusion of diversified is just because of the problems and the feedback we had, mostly on the library, of poor performance and not necessarily willing to work with us very well. And maybe that's just a one-off, but for us that was the most recent project they did, and we thought we would more likely get a better project with diversified, even though we spent the additional $14,000. But that's that's a subjective decision, and we felt there was enough evidence that diversified would provide us with a better product.
I just wanted to highlight one more process thing. We do have a local vendor preference of 2.5% for vendors inside the city, 2% for vendors in Montezuma County, but not in the city limits. And it would be helpful for staff to include that information for a bid when there is a local bidder for council's review, so that we can see, because not only is that bid the bid that we're discussing the cheapest bid, but as a local bidder, even if it was the same, it would actually be 2% cheaper. So I do want to make sure that we're getting all of the information regarding these bids.
If I could add one more thing, if our project directors were to look closely at Top Line when they're installing to make sure it's done correctly, is that something that we could do? Or is it beyond our knowledge and skills to do something like that?
I certainly think we could, we could provide some quality control, quality assurance when they're doing their work.
And that's not something I want to do all the time. I mean, that's not our job to oversee everybody that we contract. But I personally would like to see our business kept as local as we can. And when they come in at a low bidder, I just really have a hard time giving it to somebody else if they're not capable of doing the job. They're not capable.
Yeah, and that's certainly leaving the construction debris and the T-shirts and the rags up. That never should have happened, and that's something that we probably could have caught.
Yeah, we shouldn't have to do it. So I understand where you're coming from as well.
So I think where we're at tonight, I think it's important to make a decision this evening. I'm hearing mixed opinions, and just want to put it out there that you could make a motion for diversified or top line, and with that bid amount, with their bid amount, if that's where council feels they would like to go.
So I would be willing to make the proposal that the council accept the proposal from Top Line. I don't have the exact number in front of me, so if I could get some assistance on an administrative side, how that would have to be, I'm happy to do so.
Yes, council, if that motion was to be made, you would use the motion that should be in front of you. just replacing diversified general contracting with top line and using the dollar amount of, I lost it here. What is it, Brian? 115 what?
Yeah, it's 115,
337? Any change? Okay, and $115,000, or 337 and 0 cents. So you'd replace those two.
I move that council accept the proposal from Top Line for repair of the roof on the police department building and authorize the city manager to negotiate and sign a professional services agreement on behalf of the city with Top Line at its proposal price of $115,000, 337.
Second.
Motion made by Randall and seconded by Lewis.
Lewis,
Aye.
Randall,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Stoffer,
Aye.
Rule,
Yes.
DeHaven.
Aye. Moving on to number 7, new business. 7A is resolution number 17, series 2024, presented by our contract city planner, Nancy Dosdell.
Good evening. Hoping that works. No. There we go. Yep. Okay, got a new laptop and works. Do I need to turn this on? Yeah. This is a fairly simple request for a plat amendment. The city is actually the applicant on this and the owner. The city owns a 3-acre parcel located on the northwest corner of East Empire and North Mildred Street. It's shown right here. The city has determined that the parcel is not necessary for city needs, offered it for sale. Offer to buy has been received and accepted by the city council, as you know. But prior to selling the parcel, the city wishes to reserve additional right-of-way at the intersection of East Empire and North Mildred for future intersection improvements. In this case, the plat amendment proposed is simply to take a portion of the southeast corner of the parcel and combine that right here, showing as this triangle, combine it with right-of-way for both East Empire and North Mildred. So in the future, should that intersection be improved, and the discussion I've heard has been a potential roundabout in that location, that the city will have adequate right-of-way once the parcel's sold. So fairly simple request. The recommendation is for approval with our one standard condition that that all requirements of agencies be met. Are there any questions?
Nancy, can you clarify, I believe in addition to the expanded right-of-way, there is expanded easements for utilities being requested as well. Is that not correct?
The easements should be included within that right-of-way. I don't
No,
believe.
the expanded right-of-way is the triangle.
Right, yeah.
So that's, the expanded easements run the full length of both sides of the property. The 40 feet,
Oh,
you
the-
see they're labeled 40 foot.
Some of that was there already. It's being added to slightly.
I guess just to clarify that that's part of the request, is to expand the utility easement as well.
Correct.
So would that change the motion, Pat, or the motion would be the same?
Motion's the same, yeah.
No, because you're being asked to approve the plat as presented, which includes the easement and the right-of-way expansion.
Okay, any comments, or can I get a motion?
I move that council approve resolution number 17, series 2024, a resolution Lot 1, Montezuma County Public Facilities, PUD, with one condition as stated in the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Lewis and seconded by Dobry.
Dobry,
Aye.
Buffer,
Aye.
Randall, Lewis,
Aye.
Rule,
Yes.
Aye. All right, moving on to item B, resolution number 19, series 2024, also presented by City Contract Planner Nancy Dosdell.
Okay, and this request is also a plat amendment. In this case, it's a boundary adjustment and a lot consolidation. It's a little complicated, so I've got the little explanation here for you. So George Cheney, and I'm gonna mispronounce, but Sally Powup, own lots 30, 31, and 40A. Their home is on 40A. The proposal is essentially to consolidate 30 and 31. And given that their home on 40A, they also sort of occupy and use some space at the back of lot 30. The proposal here is to make a jog in lot 40A, so it will become a bit longer. Lot 30 and 31 will be consolidated and will be a little bit of a L shape. That is the request. Both resulting lots are larger than what is required in the MH zone. So MH requires 6,000 square feet. We'll have 2 resulting lots after this rather than 3. One will be a little over 9,000 feet. One will be a little over 10,000 feet. That's the one with their home on it. All other setbacks, lot coverage, etc., can be met with any new construction on those lots once they're sold. We did have agencies review this. None of the only ones that commented were GIS, the Sanitation District, and Atmos Energy. None of them had any concerns. GIS is just speaking to the addressing and meters, etc., that will remain. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the plat amendment, and we have a suggested resolution and motion for you. Are there any questions? I believe the applicants are in the room.
Yeah. Would the applicants like to speak, or? Well, if we don't have any questions, can I get a motion?
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I move that council approve resolution number 19, series 2024, a resolution approving an amended plat to create the first amended plat of lots 30, 31, and 40A Southern Bluff subdivision in the residential manufactured home MH zoning district in Cortez, Colorado, with the one condition as stated in the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Kiefhoffer and seconded by Dobry.
Rule,
Yes.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Randall, Lewis,
Aye.
Haven.
Aye. Moving on to resolution number 20, series 2024, presented by Scott Baker, our grants administrator.
There, it's on now. Good evening, Council. Thank you for your time. I'm bringing before you tonight a memorandum and a proposed resolution. We're seeking City Council approval to apply for a History Colorado grant in the amount of $22,300. This would support an archaeological analysis and research at the former civilian conservation campsite that's whose remains are located in the Carpenter Natural Area. The project will result in a brochure publication of this otherwise missing segment of Cortez history. Like all of our CLG grants that we've applied for, this has no match requirement for the grant. And so it would allow us to underwrite the costs of an archaeologist and the research to be done on this. Linda Toll is here with us tonight, the VP of the Cortez Historic Preservation Board, and she's been the guiding light for this project. And glad to field any questions you might have.
We're very excited.
If they do this, there won't be any excavation or anything of that nature, will there?
It's going to be a surface. My understanding is it's just really surface, kind of picking around. It's not actually significant digging of any kind. I mean, they might pull something up that, you know, might have a little bit of dirt on it, but the idea is to just really kind of assess from an archaeological point of view what's there.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to make a motion that council approve resolution number 20, series 2024, resolution supporting the 2025 CLG grant application for the city of Cortez to the state of Colorado, acting by and through the Colorado Historical Society, also known as History Colorado.
Second.
Motion made by Kiefhoffer and seconded by Lewis.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Brule.
Yes.
Dobry.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Randall. DeHaven.
Aye.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Moving to item number D, change order on the 2024 storm drain project, presented by Brian Peckins, Director of Public Works.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, this year's storm drain project was aimed at enhancing the drainage performance at Kemper and Mesa Elementary Schools. At Mesa, the focus was making necessary improvements in conjunction with the Safe Routes to Schools project scheduled to begin in 2025, while the Kemper project specifically addressed the mitigation of flooding impacts on the playground. The design phase of the project identified over 40 underground utilities, but WCA crews encountered additional unknown utilities that required further effort for removal or relocation to facilitate the installation of the new storm drain alignment. Various modifications were necessary due to the presence of these unidentified and underground utilities, some of which were owned by the city of Cortez, while others were associated with the Montezuma-Cortez School District. This included multiple sewer taps and gas utilities that needed to be relocated on 3 separate occasions. The Kemper project also faced significant bedrock obstacles while navigating Park Street and extending to the outlet at Veterans Park. Further modifications were made to several concrete drop inlets, ensuring effective drainage while avoiding interference with existing utilities and excessive disruption to school traffic. Public Works recognizes the importance of providing safe and effective infrastructure in a timely manner and for a reasonable cost. To achieve time and cost objectives, unbid work from the street improvement program budgeted for 2024 would be diverted for use in the storm drain project. As such, all work performed in this change order is still within the original budget estimates for the FY24 Street Enterprise Fund projects. On major construction projects, there is often a high probability of change orders occurring in order to successfully complete a project. On this project, unforeseen circumstances included multiple unidentified utilities, significant bedrock, the relocation of sewer taps and gas utilities, all of which caused $146,847.37 in required changes. In addition, the contractor prepared and patched back asphalt where city crews replaced aging water lines in the amount of $122,413.61. They will also do the restriping and painting for the newly friction-sealed streets in the amount of $52,381.70. Monies are available in the Street Improvement Fund to cover the additional work described in the change order. Again, we're just trying to be transparent. I mean, these are kind of high-cost changes, but in order to complete the project successfully, we had to make those modifications. Staff recommends that council approve the above change order in the total amount of $321,642.68.
Has a lot of this work already been completed?
Yeah, except for the striping.
Yeah, so it's a done deal.
Yeah,
And I will add that I think they did a tremendous job. I really liked what they were doing down there.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate your flexibility in working through this and encountering the difficulties that you did, finding a way through it that's workable.
I was just going to ask if you can communicate for the community the timeline on the striping, when that will be complete.
If we get approval tonight, they're going to start tomorrow.
Hearing that then, I move that council approve the change order with WCA Construction LLC for 2024 storm drain for a total of $321,642.68.
Second.
Motion made by Lewis and seconded by Dobry.
Randall. Kiefhoffer. Dobry.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Rule.
Yes.
Aye. Moving on to number 8 on our agenda, draft resolutions and ordinances. There are none. And number 9 is the city attorney's report.
No report, Madam Mayor Pro Tem.
Number 10 is the city manager's report.
Yes, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. I have some items for you this evening. First of all, I'd like to point out the city's biannual cleanup week from October 21 through 24 of this year was a huge success. Over 26 tons of debris was collected in addition to 61 mattresses, 26 pieces of upholstered furniture. This was one way that the city helps our residents and keeps Cortez beautiful and uncluttered, and all of this out of yards and streets. Number 2, I had the privilege of participating in the Southwest Colorado Incident Management Team fully functional exercise, which was a simulated dam at Jackson Reservoir north of Mancos. This took place from November 1 through 3 of this year. However, this has actually been in planning for months and months. This included multiple agencies, including cities, towns, fire districts, search and rescue, Dolores Water Conservancy District, Civil Air Patrol, Empire Electric, and others who trained on how to work together in the event of a major catastrophe. And we have 2 major dams in our area. This is important. I'd also like to take a moment off script to compliment Jim Spratlin and Vicki Schaefer, who are the emergency managers for the county. Council, we are really lucky to have these folks working on our behalf, and they just did a great job. Lastly, I wanted to announce that we are making changes in the hours of operation for Cortez City Hall effective December 2nd, 2024. Public visits to City Hall have been tracked for many months and have shown a decreased pattern of visitation on Friday afternoons. With many of the staff already fulfilling their hours and work requirements for a Friday afternoon, then they've already left the building, leaving very few individuals on hand. Looking at this, we really feel that this is a bit of a safety and well-being issue for our staff. Therefore, the hours of City Hall will change to Monday through Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Friday, 8 a.m. to noon. These actions will be widely publicized to the community. So just to also piggyback on this a little bit, we've discussed maybe just closing City Hall on Fridays, but we feel strongly that the community needs access to their city government. this we think is the best compromise. So with that being said, I'm open to questions from council.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, council.
Number 11 on our agenda is the city council committee reports. We'll start with item A, the mayor's report on the workshop. During the workshop, we got a presentation by Stantec on the South Broadway area-wide plan. The plan focuses on 8 priorities, which can be narrowed into kind of 3 focus areas, which is cleaning up South Broadway, connecting the area to the rest of town, and supporting and attracting new businesses. And then within that, they've found 4 strategies, which is revitalizing properties, promoting multi-module transportation, creating a sense of community, and market and brand of the corridor. So if you want more information about that plan, please watch the workshop. And then we had a presentation on the airport terminal design study presented by Alliance Architects. They've been about a year into the study, and it will take a few more years to complete and hopefully come to fruition. But they're talking about expanding the terminal and then figuring out a sense of space that can really define our community, and which they narrow down into 4 categories, which is majestic landscape, from the land, year-round playground, and heritage and home. So just look forward to seeing what will come of that study. And then we had some council general discussion where we talked about potentially taking some of the 2024 funds from the council budget and making a donation to the Good Samaritan Food Pantry. And we're going to have that as an item for our next city council meeting and get some more information on that as well. So we'll move on to letter B, other board reports. We can start with Councilmember Sproul.
I have none.
The Mesa Verde Country Board meeting was rescheduled due to the celebration of Veterans Day yesterday, and will be next Monday.
The Historic Preservation Board had a meeting on November 6th. Earlier presentation on our application for the grant 2025, the CLG grant regarding the CCC camp and further evaluation of that. On October 15th, there was a visit from the archaeologist from the State Historic Fund and the coordinator for CLG at History Colorado. They came down and looked at the site. In addition to what we've already heard regarding the grant application, there may be plans for a brochure that might outline the history of the CC camp that was here. And again, it was a no-election survey that was performed and a field analysis. So we're looking forward to the final results of that. Other than that, there's nothing outstanding.
No report.
Moving to item 12, other items of business. There's no executive session tonight. 13 is public participation. There's no limit to the number of speakers and no overall time limit. Do we have any public participation? If you'd like, you can come up to the microphone and state your name and where you live. It will turn green and you have 3 minutes, and then yellow when you have 1.
Thank you. Thank you, council members. My name is Aaron Lessie, 411 North Ash Street. I have some sad news. 2 Sunday nights ago, I knocked on my neighbor's door on North Ash to tell her that her beloved pet was lying in the street in front of her house, lifeless. There were tears. As I helped her remove the body of her friend from the pavement, I felt sadness at her loss and the loss of a friendly face in our neighborhood. But I also felt frustration and anger. I felt this because North Ash Street has become a speedway for some of the regular traffic, and it seemed inevitable that something like this would happen. From the handful of drivers on this street that speed up and down each day, driving from what I can tell is around 40 to 45 miles an hour, to the near constant flow of traffic making 15-minute stops at one house on the street, like some kind of convenience store,
To the frequent passing of 18-wheelers who drive down this neighborhood street, it's only been a matter of time before they take a life. This time it was a pet. If that wasn't enough, it could be someone's child. Next time. North Ash Street is one of the few streets in this area with uninhibited access between Empire Street and Montezuma Avenue. To the west, Beach Street has its school zone and crosswalk to slow traffic. Market Street beyond that has its storm drain that slows traffic at its MacArthur Avenue intersection. To the east of us, Washington Street slopes down and ends on a hilly part of Empire Street, which works to inhibit the flow of through traffic. Whatever the reason, North Ash Street has become an inviting raceway for local and through traffic alike. I am requesting that changes be made to discourage such reckless endangerment of life on North Ash Street. While a speed camera may hold speeders accountable through speeding tickets, speed bumps seem the surest way to slow traffic down. I propose 2 speed bumps, each one about a third of the way down each end of North Ash Street. If, for some reason, these life-saving measures are seen as too expensive, then at the very least, I propose a single speed bump at the halfway point on North Ash. In addition to the pets and children living at North Ash Street, school children also use this street to get back and forth from school on foot. I strongly believe, and have seen more than enough evidence to support this, that it is only a matter of time before more lives are needlessly lost because of the speeding traffic on North Ash Street. I implore you to urgently consider installing these safety measures on our street. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'm sorry to hear that, and thanks for helping your neighbor. Do we have any other public participation? Seeing none, I'll move on to item 14, adjournment. Can I get a motion?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Lewis and seconded by Dobry.
Dobry,
Aye.
Lewis,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Randall, Rule,
Yes.
Haven.
Aye.